Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. Disclaimer, just a heads up to all our lovely followers. Our social media is a space where we share personal stories, including those of various mediums. Let's keep the vibe positive and respect each other's beliefs. Every journey is unique, and here we celebrate the diversity of experiences. I'd like to welcome back to the show for her monthly segment, Jeannette Connects. Welcome back, Jeannette.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle, for having me back. Excited to see what we're going to hear for June.
Yes, and how quickly time has just ticked on by. And this is a monthly segment. Before we move on, I just want to quickly say it's a monthly segment that you do. It's unlimited connections, and this is where you go into a trance state, so to speak. You would call it a trance? Oh, actually, you've got a really great way that you phrase this now. Tell us what it is that you do, Jeannette.
Right. My background is in psychology and a little bit of neurology courses there. And what has developed in the last decade is the huge study of consciousness. And little things that everybody could relate to, like you're going to call your sister and you grab your cell phone and she's calling you. Or you're thinking about somebody and they're knocking at your front door. Synchronicities is one of the things, but there's also studies about connections of consciousness. When you're thinking of someone, they're also thinking of you. And so what I was explaining to Michelle is like, right now we're both here. Our consciousness is local. We're here. If you start to daydream and you're thinking of something else, a little bit of you floats away and Michelle be, Jeannette, what are you talking about? Well, I'm sorry, Michelle, I wasn't here. What was that? That is your consciousness somewhat being bilocal. So it's non-local. It's not here. Energy is a continuation force. It never dissipates. It just converts into a different form. So what they're looking at right now is the energy that is within our human body. When our human body no longer functions, that energy continues. That consciousness continues. So what do mediums do is we connect our consciousness with that consciousness and we bring you messages. So what mediumship, I think, is going to be perhaps described in the next decade, it'll be more like, non-local consciousness facilitator, where you facilitate communication with a consciousness that your client wants to reach out to. The grandmother that passed, the pet that's no longer there, with that consciousness. So what you're actually doing is facilitating the communication with that non-local consciousness, making that connection.
Yeah.
And they're doing so many beautiful, enlightening studies in that field that I can't wait for it to continue to flourish.
Yeah, they certainly are. I know Greg Braden for one, Joe Dispenza, just to name a few, or they're onto that. The Heart Math Institute, there's so much going on with all of that. And I love the way you've explained that, Jeannette, simply put, so that the average everyday person can start to understand more and more what it is that you do and that others do. And that's a really great way to explain that. It's so fascinating. You gave in your last, actually, it was episode 95, I think it was, we did an interview and you explained in there about how the everyday person can connect to a loved one and how that can be done. If you haven't watched that episode, I really encourage you to go back because, as you say, Jeannette, everybody has the ability to do this, to connect to a loved one, to consciousness. You explained it in there so beautifully and so simply there as well, with examples of connecting to loved ones. That episode is well worth watching. Especially if you're new to all of this spiritual, mediumship, psychic, whatever it is, to get a better understanding, I would highly recommend you go back and watch that. That was a brilliant episode, and we've got a lot of really great feedback on that episode as well.
I'm 100% believe that, or I wouldn't say it. It's funny too how words over decades and centuries of time can change. I don't know what I said to somebody yesterday. I think it was the young girl at the beauty parlor. She's got purple hair, and and I said, "Wow, that's heavy." And she's like, "I haven't heard that in forever." And I'm like, medium, and mediumship. You people ask you, and they're not in this realm, and they're not really into spiritual, and that's normal. I mean, you're doing your life, right? And oh yeah, no, I'm actually a large, and haha, okay, cute. But it's kind of a way of deflecting something that might be a little frightening to them. And my website kind of addresses that. But really, all it is connecting. It's opening up and connecting, or zoning out if you want to do that. How many people say, "Oh, I was zoned out," or somebody's been talking and talking. They'd be like, "What were you talking about?" Because where were they?
Or driving's a good
where
one.
was their consciousness? Where were they focused?
Yeah.
Right.
When people are driving and they don't realize suddenly they're home, how did they get there? Yeah, totally zoned out.
That example of thinking about someone and they're calling you, that's exactly that ties into what I discuss about you can do it. When that happens, that's your consciousness reaching out to theirs. Because here's another thing that might blow people's minds. The spirit that you're wanting to connect with does not necessarily have to be dead. They can still be within this body functioning, or in a hospital bed in a coma. It's pretty wild because their consciousness is still there. So the first time that happened, I thought, well, wait a minute. And then I learned, no. And then it made complete sense, of course, because the consciousness is always something you can locate, whether it's in the body or it's non-local and no longer within the body.
Yeah.
So everyone has the ability to do that. You do it all the time. You probably just don't pay attention to it. And today, I think, man, we're like bombarded constantly with our phones dinging and binging and dinging, and and like, oh my god, I got to check all these emails and check back all these people, and was it did they text me, did they email me, did they social me, you know what I mean? It's just like it become like completely frazzled. Your best form of communication, the easiest, and nobody's ever going to charge you for it, really, is your consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's an ability that we've lost over time.
You think of somebody and you're like, and then you get a call, hey, somebody got an accident, they're in the hospital, and you'll be like, well, that was really weird. No, it wasn't really weird. It was your consciousness connecting with theirs, trying to tell you and tell you, pick up a phone, make that, call that person.
Yeah.
If you keep getting that.
Yeah. And I think it's an ability that we've lost over time. We listen to all the ancient cultures and how that was very much, I want to say, a normal practice. And yet here we are today, like you say, too distracted, not learning it, other forms of control measures or other forms of distraction that guide us away from that.
There's, I think, also, because it's so simplistic and it's so empowering, that a lot of different institutions would I think have just really kind of shut it down and put controls on it, labeled things with tabs of fear, evil, and religiously, if and I've studied multiple religions. I say God, I believe in God. I pray before I do my trances. I know that I have ancestors that look out for me, that I have angels, I have guardian angels, but I don't stick with that, whatever you're wanting to call an incredible energy, call it an energy, universal energy, a supreme force. I mean, there's a bunch of, and depending on who you listen to, they call it a bunch of different things, but it's at the core, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's an incredible, powerful, and let me tell you that if when you're in that core, and that connection at that level, it's a huge swelling of love, is what you feel. So there's nothing evil about that. There's no malice in that. There's no evil intent for anyone. And I am a strict believer that if somebody has their religion, whatever it is, and that's working for them, very important, stick to that, because it
Yeah.
might be more detrimental to you will be able to entertain other ideas when you're ready and strong enough.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
If it isn't broken, then don't worry about fixing it right now, because
Exactly.
that greater power, that God, that whatever you wish to call it, is going to work through whatever you're using to help you and reach you.
Yeah.
Christianity, Judaism, name Muslim, Islamic, all of them. Now, institutions and people start to then weaponize these different religions, and that's where it just goes off the rails, like a horrible train crash, right? Yeah. If you can envision a train just going and all the cars just like, yeah, that's when things go awry. But
Yeah.
the original core and the vein of it is pure and clean and full of light and full of love. And
Yeah.
the message is also pretty much myself and every channeler and person that does trance that I know. They're always, whatever you bring in for the higher good and the greatest for everyone, even if it's a message that might be, lower tone, a bummer, another word that nobody uses anymore. Dating myself. But even if it's like us, there's going to be a war, this is going to happen. The intention of it is to shed light on something so that we can have greater understanding, and then as globally, then come to grips with what's taking place and
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So it's for a greater good.
Yeah. And I think that rings true, Jeannette. And the great example is last month's segment that you did. There was all of that. I think there was, war, fire, and fury, so to speak. It started out that way, but they were highlighting this is what may be coming. However, this is what you can do. And then there was the solution to if this was to transpire here, then don't worry because you've got this over here to deal with that. And how you yourself, as an individual, as a unique thinker of the world, can help yourself through these times. And that's what I love about the messages that you bring through is regardless of the message, like you say, whether it has a bit of a lower tone or whatever the case may be, I call them predictions. There is always a solution and an advice that's also given to say, hey, but let's focus over here rather than on what's going to happen. Let's focus over here because this is what you can do to help yourself. This is what you can do to save humanity. This is what you can do to bring your life joy, hope, meaning, whatever that may be for the person. And I love that about the messages that you bring through. It's not just doom and gloom and we're done. It's not always, but like I say, to me, they're predictions and they're current predictions, they're worldly predictions that are on the horizon that you go, oh, yeah, I could see that happening. But hey, here's the solution. And I think that's
Or
important.
a remedy.
Yeah.
Right. So my mom, who's 94, lives with me, and her hand with arthritis, which is really hurting, and there's a cream, and it didn't take it away. She still had the pain, but it soothed it. And she's like, oh, I feel so much better. I can move my hand now. Right. I mean, her arthritis is not going to go away because of the cream. So, I mean, and when you get into these conversations and you look at the history of the world and how we're still blowing each other up and all the atrocities, it's like none of this makes any sense. And that's why I understand a lot of, my daughter's generation now, they don't believe in anything. I have some that were raised Christian, Catholic, um, some that believe in Hindu, and they were raised believing in their gods and praying to them, and they're like, no, because they're in this world, and they're like, how could this be? To wrap your head around the fact that where we're at now is everybody's learning things, and death isn't like oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. It is, and it is to me too. I lost my husband, so trust me, I don't say these things lightly, but there are reasons for it. I'm still thinking, okay, I have to totally be non-conscious out of my body to really understand the reason for a lot of things. I'll be honest with you. But that pattern anyway, that mode of thinking for me makes sense. It's like, okay, I can look back now and see what has taken place in the last 5 years since my husband died, how different people have shifted, how other things have transpired that are also not the best thing, but how different people are behaving and learning and growing and choosing. Do you want to be a helpful source, or do you want to be a condemnation to those that you can oppress? That happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That happens. So I get that, why would God do this? And I think that it's because it's in a way, it's like ascension of the soul. It's learning.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole other theory that you kind of decide before you come here what you're wanting to learn on, what you're wanting to improve upon. I must have been completely asleep, or no, I think I was in a trance before I was ever born and made all my choices. That's what I came up with. I was completely non-local. I didn't focus because I would have said, no, wait, cancer 2 times? Why? No, once is enough. No, that I don't need it twice, So I get the human aspect of it. I get it. But I will tell you that the first time I had a strong trance that came through in 23, all the stuff that is happening was on there. And I've mentioned it in other episodes. I was like, oh my God, what do you mean all the religions are going to, are change? And all of our institutional, they talked about religion, they talked about government, they talked about education, so that all of these were basically going to crumble and then be reborn somehow. I mean, I never got to that part because I came out of there going, what? Where was I? What just happened? And I didn't really understand channeling, or I hadn't seen anybody do it. And it took me a while, maybe like 8 or 9 months. And somebody came on a feed and I'm like, oh, this is kind of what happened to me. That's interesting. And then I think within a couple of weeks, the war broke out. And then a few months later, another war. And it said other countries were going to get involved. So I see that. For me, I don't talk about predictions. I don't like to name it that, but free will, Michelle, you go at it. But that was definitely, it talked about look to the sky and crazy, and I'm like, oh my God, all the aurora things that have been happening in places where they weren't supposed to. It talked about the sun. It talked about animals behaving differently. And I see this. And let me tell you, because I'm my worst critic, right? I'm like, wait a minute, am I seeing it because I'm remembering that they said that and I'm looking for it now? But no, there's just too many of them that I've been able to check off.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, that's some good verification for me.
Yeah. And I guess it's too much then to continue to call you Nostradamus.
Yeah, thank you. No, not to mention, not at all attractive. It's bad enough that my eyes look crazy when I go to trance. No, I don't. No, thank you. But I if you ever really read, his history of what that was like for him, and it was actually described by Dolores Cannon, because she did, so Dolores Cannon writes, the Nostradamus books. I think there's three of them. And she goes in and she meets with him, non-local consciousness. That's what she's doing when she meets with him. And she has somebody hypnotized or whatever. And so they communicate. What a miserable life. So let me tell you, I get zero money out of this. I don't have any notoriety. I can't cut to the front of the line when I want to go to a restaurant. You don't really get anything from this work. So, and pretty much any of the other people that are out there, even the ones that have written books and are touring from one place to another, that's a hectic little rat race thing that they've got going on, right?
Yeah.
And they're just following a calling.
Yeah.
They're following a calling. And she describes his life, and he's always in this little room with one candle and wearing the same stuff. And he's there writing, and then a consciousness will come in. He'll have to stop what he's doing. They interrupt him. But, paid no attention to his wife, no attention to his kids, because he's decided to really spend most of his life non-local, like there, but not there. Like people would talk to him, and he had a couple of students, that he taught, but he was always very disappointed with them because he was brilliant. So he didn't have time, for stupidity, yeah.
So we could safely probably say that he understood that he was here to be of service.
Not to mention that if they really found out, because if you ever read his stuff, none of it makes any sense. And it was in French, and then it was translated, so it lost a lot in the translation. But he had to put it all in crazy puzzles because the church literally would have burned him alive.
Wow.
And even if he was teaching his students, he really had to make sure that they were people that he could confide in so that what he was doing wouldn't get out. So he was very conscientious of the times that he lived in. And he tells Dolores Cannon through these communications that they have that the reason they were such puzzles was because protection.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
We live in such
so
free time.
If I put out my trance, nobody's going to come knocking on my door and take me away in the middle of the night, burn me in the middle of the cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? I was actually baptized. I've done my communion. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. But guess what? This stuff also happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it isn't an all or nothing. And if you read not only the Bible, but the Quran and all of these other religious texts, you will see that people get ideas that aren't theirs, non-conscious.
Yeah.
It's a consciousness, it's a spirit, it's a light, it's an angel. You can describe it however you want. And that's a communication that's given to them for the greater good and the light of the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those poor individuals, most of the time, also, they didn't become a rock star. You know what I mean? It's not like their lives were set. On the contrary.
Yeah.
On the contrary.
Exactly. Maybe the questions that they need to be asking and the intention is bring me a song and help me play a guitar to go with these words.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other topic. Like they say, a lot of artists and scientists, they'll tell you, like they say, well, where'd you come up with the words? And so many of them will say, it just came to me.
Yeah.
It's just like I wake up and I'm hearing the words in my head, or all of a sudden I just got to write down the melody over and over and over.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. I guess we could say it was channeled, or it was bringing through inspiration, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Wow. Well, that being said, and that's a lot of really great information and wisdom there that you've shared with the viewers and listeners, to really sort of turn that over and toss it around and make of it what you will. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking for hope. They're looking for something. And if this plants any seeds, brilliant. Our job here is done. And, you progress to wherever it is that you need to go and whatever it is that you need to do.
But before you, move on, keep looking for something else. And if what you've got works, then, do that.
Yeah, exactly. But before you tune out, just wait, because there's more to come. So what we're going to do now is allow Jeannette to go into an altered state. Actually, I'll let you phrase this, Jeannette. What's actually going to happen here? You're going to go.
All right, so I'll do some deep breathing and some relaxing of my body, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I do. Is I say Padre Nuestro in Spanish, which is our Father who art in heaven, that my grandmother taught me. Like, and it's really hard Spanish. It's the words in there are really difficult, and she would repeat it every night, and then I would repeat it until And so I'll say that, and that's my way to open up to that level of light and of energy. And then I ask, my ancestors and guides to just bring through what they will. I don't ask for A, B, and C, and let it be for the greater good of all.
Yeah.
And then I kind of will feel my breathing change a little bit. And I kind of drift away, like I'm falling asleep or dreaming in a dreaming state. My consciousness moves away, and then that consciousness will come in, and a good portion of the time it's a collective, and that energy comes in, and then they speak through me, and that's what happens.
Yeah. And we get a lot of valuable information, tidbits, a few predictions, inspirations. And there's a lot of information in there on how you, the viewers and listeners, can help yourself. So pay attention, listen deeply, find somewhere quiet and allow the message to truly settle, because there will be pieces in there that will sing out to you, so to speak. I can't guarantee Jeannette
pressure now,
sing.
Michelle. Thanks. No pressure at all.
I know, right? Exactly.
I will tell you though, there is no pressure, because since it's literally not, it's not my cognition. They're not my ideas. And when I hear back these shows, I'm like, what? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, I'm going to let you now move into that state. So I will cut this bit out because there's nothing to really see. And then we'll move through into the messages. So take it away, Jeannette.
We gather to bring blessings to all there upon your earth. The pleas are heard. The echoes of the screams of those areas where, yes, many are departing abruptly in an unnatural way. The fears of those of you who hear, who attune to what is taking place. We join together to attempt to bring not only peace to certain regions, but work with individuals in particular. But many obstacles have been placed in the way. This is an orchestra that must continue until the entirety of it has been played out. We gather as angels upon your earth, joining our light, our forces, not only around those areas on fire with hatred, on fire with obsessions obsession with power, with containment of natural earthly sources for one's greater good, not that of all. We work continuously now within those realms. There is still much that must come to fruition, much that still needs to transpire before tranquility and peace may come again after much loss to the earth. We work also with all of those individuals, all of those belief systems that have been created there upon your planet. We work through all of them. We work with the individuals who pray one way or another to bring within their system tranquility, to bring within those systems faith, and to regenerate the knowledge of the power that lies within each and every one of you, regardless of your labels. The knowledge of this is on the horizon. The power then within each system connecting with each other has no bounds, no limit. It will indeed be for the good of all of the species that walk the earth, all of the animals that also are upon your planet. Be a source of light. Be a source of generosity, of kindness, of tenderness to one another. Let those moments of caring for one another grow. Let those connections continue in that form with love and light. Let it turn into a vast wave whose frequency cannot be denied, and that touches bit by bit all who seek the light and a better way for mankind. Bless you for allowing this time and these messages to be communicated this way. Thank you for this time and this connection. We wish to add from our perspective warnings that you are receiving through multiple disciplinaries and multiple frequencies. As has been stated, yes, the connection between these, myself, and other extraterrestrials, although you have many names for us at this time, will be manufactured in a sense by man Our communication this evening is to warn and forewarn, do not be taken. Listen to your connections. Look for yourselves to these things that you are being told may cause threat and harm to you. Recognize that these are not representation of any of our traveling ships in any way. If it looks as though it was something that could have been built by man, even if its totality and its trajectories do not make any sense to you, it is of man. If what you are shown does not make complete sense to you in a frequency, in a feeling of what you are seeing, know that this is there to cause chaotic fear within your communities. The actual contact that will be taking place by us in the future will be something that will not create this emotion within you. It will be something that will be subtle at first and at quite a distance. There will be plenty of verification, not through your apparatuses, for none of that can be verified any longer there within your society. It will be things that you will look upon visually with your own senses, to the point where it will and cannot be denied that it is intelligence from beyond this sphere, not created here. The sensation should be that of wonder and awe, not of fear. Please recognize the difference. If this comes to pass, because it is in stages now, there is your knowledge to decipher what you are being told and what you are seeing. If many other institutions that are working against this are capable of burying or stopping that, then there is no confusion when we do make ourselves known. For again, you will recognize it as such. You will sense the intention. Many of you will receive communication. Many of you may receive dreams. This is what was most prominent this evening in communicating to those of you listening. We also wish to stipulate that we recognize emotional states that take place there with you, and wish you to understand that there are many here among us who are prepared and who are specifically trained to be able to converse and explain why our presence and what the purpose is. We tell you this evening that it brings with it, as we have said before, solutions in health that have been held back from you, different communication skills that are far more advanced than those you hold in your hands, travel to places that have yet to be imagined, although many there within your top rankings already know of this existence. If at first the presence of extraterrestrials sounds alarming, think back perhaps to when your society was specifically one color and one language, and a wave from a different country entered into your communities. At first, it created tension, problems, and issues. As the multitude of years go by and generations begin to meld one with the other, it is no longer even thought of. This is also what will occur. Know also that this decision has been made because the majority of you there upon this earth are ready for this to take place. It is time. We wish you to know that we look forward to that moment as it comes nearer with the unfolding of events that presently are taking place. We leave you by telling you that there is much that you are to be excited about and looking forward to. This is nothing to dread. Again, just be wary of those who would attempt to create chaotic fear within your community. Whenever that takes place, it is usually to gain control. Man has done it to man throughout its existence. That is not the plan here. It is to bring you forward. We take a moment now for any questions that you may have.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you. Is communication between our worlds becoming easier now?
Did you just not receive my communication? Yes. Because many of you are changing the tone, the frequency, the vibration. You are now opening up to many, not only our vibrations and communications with you, but those of other beings. And we have mentioned before that those children now being born will be exceptionally advanced in what you call telepathy. What was being described as one thinks of someone and then that person appears or makes contact. So much of what will be taking place when I describe the feeling when you are finally able to set your eyes upon one of our traveling ships or one of our representatives, you will be receiving information, and that information your brain will be able to filter into a frequency of tranquility or anxiety. It will be tranquility. This is where you will be able to differentiate between the man-made and the real. There will be no question. You will simply know. Part of it will be because of transmissions being downloaded into those of you who have this capability. And again, all of you were born with these capabilities. Another?
Yes. That being said, can we safely say that in our past on Earth, humans were more closed off to these communications? So therefore now, as we have progressed, we are far more open. Is that what's changed, or is it a frequency that is beyond our understanding for our human minds to understand?
You ask multiple questions within that question. If you look at your historical timeline, the evolution of man First, the brain and its cognition. One, yes, prehistorically, this was not something that was easily accessed. Even your communications, one to the other, your languages needed to evolve. Understood? Yes. That part understood.
Yes.
Now, again, we say to you, though, that innately it was born, it was there. So, yes, that prehistoric man that you all may have received downloads and acted upon it, yet the brain itself, it's his capacity to understand why he was taking an action or where that came from was not there. The structure was not there to sustain that thought process of where it came from. Even today, there is discussion as where this comes from. Children, there within your society, when they are born and they are small, before they are taught differently, are able to make those connections and have those frequencies. They are open still. But we also have capabilities of enabling those communications to those of you who are resigned, yes, to have those communications made to you. Again, recognizing that the individual who's receiving these transmissions must be worthy, knowing that they are not to be used in a negative format. That will not happen. Progression of humanity. Growth and progression in all aspects of humanity, in all institutions of humanity. Is there more?
Yes. When you communicate with us, do you lower your energy or vibration to meet ours?
Each individual there has a different modality. We know how to alter our energy to fit within that space. The numbers connecting. I can say that it is never higher than where we normally are. And it can fluctuate depending on the individuals. It can fluctuate within a individual depending on where they presently find themselves within their energy field. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Are you complete?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing us to share this communication and this energy with you this evening. You will all be well. Peace to all.
Welcome back, Jeannette. That
Thank
was pretty dynamic. And I know I can see that you're still coming back from that, so I won't bombard you with too much too soon. But I love the multiple beings that came through. I'm going to say the first one being angelic and gentle. And then the next one, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say it was Rosanon with that forthright, boom, 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 boom information. And, I have to sit up and be a good student when it's like the headmaster just walked into the classroom. But we'll do a quick recap because that was very interesting. So the angelic being, please are heard. where many are departing in an unnatural way. For those attuned to this, we join together. So, being other angelic forces, the angels, we join together to bring peace. Obstacles are placed. This must play out. So what they're saying is whatever's happening now in our world, this has to play out. It's almost like the cycle needs to finish. Angels are gathered upon earth with light around those areas on fire with hatred, obsession, power. We work continuously with these realms. So there is awareness in the spirit world. So for those listeners and viewers that may be thinking, well, why aren't they here helping us? Well, they are. And naturally, they cannot always take the experiences that need to be had for the many and the masses for things to change. I mean, then there are so many lessons that won't be learned through our own actions, choices, things that may need to be highlighted if they just come in and take over. So much still to come to fruition and transpire before tranquility. Peace may come again to earth. We work with belief systems here on our earth, individuals who need to bring forth more understanding of labels. So they're looking at those beliefs. I don't want to just pinpoint religion. It could be anybody's beliefs. It could be about race. It could be about politics. It could be about anything that are putting labels on things. They're trying to open them up a little bit and just expand that in a more gentler, softer, more peaceful understanding, I guess you could say. Connecting systems, no bounds, no limits for the good of all, for the species of Earth. So they're saying that, all of the systems that are in place need to have no boundaries where they're not segregating people or creating division. I think that's a big one. Division is a big one. Be a source of light, generosity, kindness to each other. Care for one another. Continue to do this. This elevates the frequency in a better way for mankind. And naturally so, when you smile at someone and they smile back, you feel really great about that. It lifts your spirits, it lifts theirs, even to have a little joke or a laugh, it lightens the room. So that's totally understandable. And it is about being more compassionate to one another, being more compassionate to each other, and also ourselves. Now, this is where Rosenon came in. Warnings received from multiple frequencies, other forms manufactured by man. So he's talking about there are warnings that are received by multiple frequencies of the spirit realm of other beings. They are aware of what is going on. And they are talking about the fear that is created or manufactured by man, and also what we may be seeing. And it brings forth what we may be seeing in the skies, that if these sort of things bring you fear, it may not be they're sort of saying it's not from them, so to speak, the extraterrestrial sources. This may be very well created by man to create fear in man, therefore being able to control a situation. And they're saying, listen to your own connections. What you are hearing and seeing may not be so. Ships made by man. Trust what you know. If it does not feel right, it is placed for fear and chaos. So that there in itself, their contact will be subtle, verifiable. You will see, hear, know with your own senses. It will be undeniable. Wondrous awe and not fear. So we will all know. It will be something within us that will be so peaceful and calming when it happens. When that contact happens, and they start to, I guess you could, I want to say, assimilate into our humanity. It will be subtle, gentle, and fearless when it happens. And we will know. Man, for example, institutions may turn it to something it is not. You will know. Some will receive communication through dreams. We will recognize emotional. So the spirit world recognize emotional states. So this may cause emotional states within people, but they're talking about they're trained on the other side. Other beings are trained to help to come in to help the individuals overcome this, if that's the case. Sometimes, and when I say emotion, that doesn't mean bad. That might be it's too much. When we experience profound love from the spirit world, what do? Tears.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, every time.
So, yeah, it's overwhelming emotion. So there are many forms of emotion that aren't a negative, but they're sort of saying that, and I mean, if they were to communicate with us regularly, we can't have a world that's crying through love. I mean, it's nice, but you know what I mean? It's not always going to be highly functional and, sustainable, should I say. We don't want to be crying all the time every time there's communication. So they're saying that they have resources in place to help deal with that, which I find very interesting. I would never have thought of that, but I'm thinking, well, that's some great forward thinking right there.
I wonder if they're going to take like human psychologists, sign me up.
Yeah. Wow. You never know. You never know.
Because wouldn't that work both ways? I don't know. If you're introducing a different species, both sides, right? Need a little help in kind of understanding humans, aliens understanding humans, humans understanding aliens.
Yeah, the way it's been put forward is with their communication, again, it's telepathy.
Oh.
So they're already tapping into what we know, what we're feeling, what we're hearing, to be able to work with that, what's presented through telepathy, consciousness to consciousness. Okay, where were we? There is much to be excited about. Do not feed into the control through fear. History proves that this happens. So if we look back on history, how do you control a country? You put it into fear, you put it into lockdown, you create that chaos. And what do people do? They look to a governing body to help us. When they're sort of saying, look within yourself, go within, find that place where feel, sense, you're multisensory, you start using those senses. Instead of going external, go internal. Now, I asked a few questions, and obviously one of my questions was so obviously apparent that was like almost, did you just hear what we said? I just can't.
Oh, okay. At least you didn't ask about reproduction.
Exactly. Thank God you haven't got questions from your mum here today. So I asked, is communication between our worlds becoming easier now? And they sort of chewed me out a little bit there and then said, yes. Especially with children being born. They spoke about when we see the ships. So again, it's looking to the skies. There's a big thing on this. And I'm going to say, I am seeing this more and more and more on social media. I'm seeing research institutions, even within our own country in Australia, asking people to step forward. Did you see, this anomaly in the sky on this night or around this time in certain areas, for people to step forward with video, with evidence? So they're taking it seriously. It's not just, it's just woo-woo. Oh no, we're beyond that now. And I think this is the subtlety. I almost want to say this is the subtlety of this becoming normal, because it's now so out there in mainstream media that people aren't fearful anymore. It's like, seen that so yesterday. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, the new children coming through will already have this understanding. This will be normal to them. So this is going to be nothing new. Where, I want to say our generation, but, this wasn't something it was something that was kept secret, hidden. If you saw anything, you don't talk about it. You had, mysterious man knocking on your door. Don't you say anything? I mean, we know that for a fact.
Or there was the Hollywood, My Favorite Martian. I think it was like, I don't know why. And this is a Martian who's like The kid finds them, or somehow the Martian becomes like the nanny or something to the kid. But when the dad would leave, like these little antennas would pop up.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
otherwise he looked normal.
yeah. There you
Blended
go.
in. He blended in.
Yeah. So I think the children, really, and this has been said so many times before, the children that are being born now are already tapping into and aware of this shared consciousness. So that's something that this is already playing out. It's not going to happen, it's already happening. Then I asked the question, was the past different? So in the past, were we not ready for communication? Like, why is it different now? And okay, so it was always there, prehistoric man, the structure, it was always the question of, there was no one to question them how it came through. It just was. So therefore, through till today, today it's questioned. How is this happening? Why is this happening? Where in the past, prehistoric man, it was probably they just acted. I mean, more so, I want to say they subconsciously, like animals, they just do because they know it's right. And then I guess over time, as we know, it gets born and bred out of us. Then beliefs come in, someone creates a structure, a society, a government, a religion, or whatever, rules, and this is how it's done. So I get, it's always been there, but we haven't used it. The average person hasn't always used it. And then when you did use it back then, you got burned at the stake. I'm just saying.
And today, I got to tell you, it's like, because the generosity of time that you put into doing this stuff, who really, a normal family, a couple of 40-year-olds with their kids and the soccer and the homework and the work and the groceries and clean the house, and then boom, start it all over again. Higher consciousness, really? I'm just trying to pay my bills and make it to work, and my kid's got a cold again, and now the other one's going to get a cold again, and the dog needs to go to the vet. That's at least in the United States, that's the way things work.
Yeah.
And mom maybe gets an hour to go to her yoga. Dad can go for a jog or go to the gym in the morning. I mean, it's crazy hectic. So I can see, like, really, non-local consciousness, whatever. I'm lucky if I'm consciousness to be able to even, physically enjoy my husband or what. That's the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the majority of our population.
Absolutely. And this is where I love the part just before when I said they will come through in dreams. So they'll get you one way or another.
Oh, okay.
So it'll come through when you're in that dream state. Pay attention to what you're dreaming. I know when I may wake up in the middle of the night from a dream and I think, when it's not just a regular dream, and I will grab my phone and I'll start typing it in a message to myself. Yeah, exactly. What just happened? And guaranteed when I wake up in the morning, I have no idea until I find it. It's already gone. But in that moment, if you have just even 1 or 2 minutes of your time to or even to have a note, pen and pad beside your bedside table, write it down. But these are the communications. Has the world noticed? And this is something I really want to ask the viewers and listeners, because I'm noticing this. And when we talk in our own circles, this is happening more and more. Viewers and listeners, have you noticed your dreams are changing? Now, I'm not even going to go into that. I'm not going to flesh that out any more than that. I'm going to leave that with you. Please comment or contact us. Comment below if you say, you can even say yes. I am really interested to know, have your dreams around the world, everybody, anybody, have they been changing to what you would normally know them to be like? Because I'm going to say that is a huge tick for me. It's like, what is going on here? And as someone who, I'll use the loaded word now, medium, I am bringing through more messages when I'm sleeping than ever before. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they are not curiosities before I go to sleep. I am not thinking of any one person in particular. Sometimes it's multiple messages a night for random people. It could be someone I haven't spoken to in 10 years, and something will come through for them. And I know it's not a dream because there is a greater message behind it. It is a knowing, it's everything. And I write it down. And yes, like a freak, I send them the message.
Hello, I went to high school with you 20 years ago. By the way, I got this dream about you.
Exactly. No need to answer me back. I'm just going to leave that here, and then I disappear. So
please don't contact me.
Exactly.
I did my bit. I gave you the message. End of story.
That's it. Exactly. And it is it's almost like a role that needs to be fulfilled. Now, why do they bring it to some people? I have a big mouth. They know that, and they know I'll tell. They know I'm not going to hold it back. I'm actually going to deliver that message. So therefore, more and more will come in. So this is the part about being open and receptive. And hey, look, if you give the message and the person goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you crazy? What are you doing? Like, do I need to call someone for you? At least you delivered. You did your job, and your job is done. Take it, leave it, whatever.
You honored it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then watch more come in. There's a lot, and that might even be a little exercise for you guys. Just be open. Start sharing your dreams. We all have them. We know they're real. We know they happen. Start sharing, because it's also a great way for your subconscious mind or your higher self, whatever you want to call it, spirit, whatever comes through. I don't know what you all dream about, but this is a way for communication from another realm, different frequency, to come in and give you messages even for yourself. Pay attention. Google's great. Type in what you dreamed about and watch how it will be exactly on point to what's going on in your life. I challenge you.
Oh.
That's a challenge. Exactly. Now, let's have a look here. So again, with was the past different to the present now? Okay, so the children of today, progression of humanity, growth, and all the institutions. So it's different now, because now the world's more open, more accepting. Do you know what I mean? Now we are progressing, where it was slow progression probably back then. And then there was, again, early human. And then we get to don't speak about it, burned at the stake, thrown into the river, whatever, witches, all sorts of other things. And then we've sort of, thank goodness, progressed from there. So now communication and energy. I think I asked the question.
Look at you go, Michelle.
What's that?
Look at you go, asking questions.
Yeah. When you communicate with us, do you lower your energy vibration to meet ours? So we talk about a medium. Why a medium? Because we meet in the middle. We raise ours, they lower theirs. But does it take energy from, like what happens there for them? So they say each individual, being us, has a different modality. We have adopted uniquely to each individual. So they will adapt to what is happening for each individual that is connecting. So if they need to lower their energy more, they will. Perhaps we're able to heighten ours to a point where they don't have to move, there's not much movement. It is
I wonder if they're able to telepathically help us to raise ours even higher.
This is true. And again, as we spoke about earlier, that state of mind, being kind to one another, raises the vibration. Something so simple, being joyous before you sit and meditate. You're already in a high vibrational state. Your energy's high, you're feeling good, you're already up there. Then you move into a meditative state, boom, you're even higher than before. So you're reaching new heights, so to speak. So that's just something to think about there. Now, the energy, this is all dependent on the energy field of the individual as well. So again, that wraps it up with pretty much what I just said about, raising that vibration, being mindful, compassionate towards others, but also toward yourself, because so many people are so hard on themselves, still learning to love themselves, accept themselves for who they are, what they look like, just everything, lifestyle, everything. There's so much pressure out there. Draw back from that, stop looking at what other people are doing and focus on what you're doing and be the best person and the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
Yeah.
That's it for the lesson today, children.
Yeah. And support yourself with whatever that is for you.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. What feels good, what feels right. Again, going into that multi-sensory. We are multi-sensory beings. Start using it. Start using it as your internal compass to navigate your way through life and see how your world changes.
Yeah, let it lead you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on that note, that was big. That was a lot. There is a lot of information there. But again, viewers and listeners, please comment below. Have your dreams changed? Have you noticed anything different? I'm curious. I'm so curious. Please comment. Even if it's a yes. You don't have to, share everything. A simple yes or a no would suffice. I'll take that. I'll take it.
So you do a little study, a little tally, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm curious, is it just us or is it everyone else as well?
Yeah.
So
that's very generic, very generic. You get 20 or 30 people and see how many said like, no, or others like, yeah, exclamation point.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So now on that note, Jeannette, where can people find you in all your brilliance?
And non-local consciousness.
You have to tap in on frequency. We'll have to give it a number.
So I'm at JeannetteConnects.com. I'm on Facebook at Jeannette Connects. And on, what's the other one?
Instagram,
Jeannette Connects.
Yes.
And I always like to say on the medium's table.
Yes, you'll always find her here. Thank you so much, Jeannette, and your team for coming through once again today. And I look forward to next month's messages. To view the show notes, head over to themediumstable.com.au. If you want to watch these episodes, head over to our YouTube channel, The Medium's Table Podcast.